Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to Football Discussions today. And I know it's week 8, but I'm gonna start doing my season weekly pick'em. Like I said, it is week 8, so it's a little late to start. But regardless, I wanted to do this as a weekly thing, but school caught up on me, and I couldn't really get it done. Also, expect weekly mock drafts every week, another thing that I'm looking forward to do. But regardless, let's get right into it. Starting off with our first game, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Washington Redskins Thursday Night Football. The spread is Minnesota 15.5. Um, I think the key point here is Kirk Cousins is without star wide receiver Adam Thielen this week. Diggs has really stepped up into almost a wide receiver one type role recently. And then other than that, he has receiving threats like Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith. But all that being said, I do think that the spread is very fair. I do think that the Vikings are the much better team. 5-2 right now, very good football team. They've looked amazing since the wide receivers complained about Kirk Cousins. Cousins has really stepped it up. So I'm liking this Vikings team, and I think they're going to get a win versus the Redskins. So moving right along, we have the Jets taking on the Jaguars. This game only has a 5.5 point spread. I really like the Jaguars so far this season. They've just lost some close games. It's been rough for them. And the Jets, I thought they were going to be great once Darnold got back, but obviously that was not the case versus the Patriots on Monday night, where they got absolutely destroyed. The Patriots were just obviously the much better team, but Darnold played awful. The offensive line played terrible. The defense was not that great, and I know they didn't get a lot of help from the offense, but I think the only thing really going the right way right now for the Jets is their run defense. But all that being said, I think a key point in this game is going to be if Sam Darnold can bounce back. And I don't think he's going to be able to versus this Jacksonville defense. I think he's going to struggle again, and the Jags are going to come out on top with the win. Up next, we have the Eagles taking on the Bills. I really like this matchup a lot. The Bills struggled versus the Dolphins, something that I wasn't expecting to see. And the Eagles got destroyed versus the Cowboys. I think they got kind of ahead of themselves. They've lost 2 in a row now. It isn't great for the Philadelphia Eagles. However, I do think they're going to come into this game with a fire under their belly. They're going to play much better defense. I think Wentz is going to get the ball moving, and I think they're going to upset the Bills here. I think the key point is going to be this Eagles defense. Can they slow down Josh Allen? Can they force the young quarterback to make turnovers? That's all going to be very essential to their role in winning, and I think they're going to be able to do it. So I'm taking the Eagles in this one. Up next, we have the Rams taking on the Bengals. Rams are a very good football team. Been struggling recently, but they look good, especially that defense with the addition of Jalen Ramsey. And the Bengals suck. They are absolutely atrocious. Can't wait to see Tank Bowl 2.0 when the Bengals take on the Dolphins. I think it's week 16 this season. All that being said, if the Bengals want to win this game, they have to get their running game back on track. I believe Joe Mixon, who was regarded as one of the better running backs in the NFL last year, had 2 carries for 10 yards last week. That's just unacceptable. Offensive line is having struggles. Andy Dalton's having struggles. So if this Bengals team wants to beat the Rams, they're going to have to get that running game back on track. I don't see that happening. The Rams' rush defense is very good, led by Aaron Donald, of course. So I'm going to take the Rams big in this one. Up next, we have the Chargers taking on the Bears, another matchup that is going to be very close. I think the key point here is the Bears' offense. Can Mitchell Trubisky start to move the ball? There's already rumors that he isn't their franchise quarterback. I saw something yesterday that if Jalen Hurts is available in the second round, they may consider taking him. So Trubisky is struggling a lot right now, and that Chargers team is struggling too. The defense isn't playing well. The offense is playing okay, but not nearly as good as they were last year when they went 12-4. So this team is kind of not nearly as good as a lot of people thought they were going to be this year. But like I said, key point, can Bears move the ball downfield? And I don't see that happening. I just don't think Trubisky's a great NFL quarterback. And I think Rivers now has another receiving option. It seems that they're playing Austin Eckler at wide receiver now, with Melvin Gordon the main guy in the backfield. So I think this Chargers offense is going to become more dynamic as the season goes along, and I think they're going to get a win here versus the Bears. Up next, we have the Titans taking on the Buccaneers. Tennessee is actually a 2.5 point favorite here. I do think the Buccaneers are the better team. Godwin, Evans, playing very well right now. If OJ Howard can get himself into the mix finally, then this team is just really going to excel offensively. Defensively, I like the Buccaneers as well. They have Shaq Barrett, who's the tied sack leader in the NFL right now. Not a lot of people saw that coming. And then, of course, Jameis Winston is really the only way that this Buccaneers team is going to win. It depends what Jameis we see on Sunday. Is it going to be the Jameis that throws 5 picks in a game, or is it going to be the Jameis who is able to throw like 5 touchdowns in a game? And I do think that Jameis is not going to throw 5 touchdowns, but he's going to definitely dial back the turnovers, be more careful with the ball. Bruce Arians is a great quarterback coach, and I think that's what it comes down to. And I think the Buccaneers are going to get one here. Up next, we have the Broncos taking on the Colts. Broncos just traded away star wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders to the 49ers for a 3rd and 4th round pick. And Jacoby Brissett has this Colts team looking hot, coming off an AFC South win versus Texans. This matchup is a little intriguing to me for a couple of reasons. I'm excited to see how Sutton does in the wide receiver 1 role for Denver, and I'm excited to see how Jacoby Brissett does because he's only been sacked once or twice this entire season, and obviously Vaughn isn't getting the sack numbers that we're used to seeing Von Miller get, but he is Von Miller, so he's always going to create pressure. He's always going to be a presence in the backfield for quarterbacks. So I'm excited to see how Jacoby Brissett handles some pressure this week. All that being said, I do think the Colts are going to win and they're going to cover that 6-point spread. But yeah, Colts are going to take the dub here. Up next, we have the Falcons taking on the Seattle Seahawks. I'm sure the Falcons are going to get absolutely obliterated in this one. The Seahawks look good. Coming off a loss versus the Ravens, I feel like Russell Wilson's going to be angry. He had probably his worst game of the season, throwing turnovers for the first time. So it's going to be interesting to see how he bounces back. And this Falcons offense is without their quarterback, Matt Ryan. So that's just going to put this Falcons team down even more. Seattle's only a 5.5 favorite. I'm sure that was at the start of the week, so I'm sure that number has grown. All that being said, I do think that the Seahawks are going to get the win here very easily, even though it is in Atlanta. Up next, we have the Saints taking on the Cardinals. This New Orleans team looks very good. Speculation that Drew Brees is going to be back this week, and I think that's going to be a factor in this game, not necessarily in the way people think. I think it might be a factor in the bad way. This Saints offense has really transformed, and that's why I think Sean Payton deserves Coach of the Year so far up to this point. But the way he's been able to handle Teddy and the way that Teddy has worked with this new offense has been so much fun to watch. The Saints look good as ever, and I think that going back to the Breeze way of things is going to throw them off a little bit. That all being said, Cliff Kingsbury has come into this year, gotten better and better at coaching as the year has gone by. Kyler Murray looks better and better. This offense looks better and better. The defense looks great. So I think that if Kyler can keep this Cardinals offense hot, then they're actually going to upset the Saints here. Yes, the 10-point favorite Saints are going to fall to the Cardinals here. A game to watch out for. I'm really excited to see how that one plays out. Up next, another really fun game in the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers, Super Bowl contenders right now. They're coming in at 6-0, I believe, and they're going to take on the 4-2 or 5-2 Panthers. The spread is 5.5 in San Fran's favor. And I think the main point here is, can this very good 49ers defense contain Christian McCaffrey? If they can't, then the Panthers are going to win this game. And I don't think the 49ers have faced up against a guy like Christian McCaffrey all year. He's so dynamic. He's so good at what he does. And I think that that's just going to throw them off just a little bit. Kyle Allen's going to get into a groove early, and that's going to help the Panthers build a lead. 49ers will try to crawl back, but I don't see it happening. I'm going to take the Panthers. Up next, we have the New England Patriots taking on the Cleveland Browns. This game is significant to the Browns in so many ways. If they can't win this one, then their season's probably over. Playoff hopes are over. All the things that these Browns fans and this Browns team talked about before the season is over. And I'm sorry to say, but that's all going to come true when the Patriots destroy the Browns. This Patriots defense is so good, and the way that Baker Mayfield is playing right now and how he takes care of the ball is just not going to work versus this Patriots defense. Not to mention they still have the best quarterback of all time. And I just don't see the Browns getting a win here in the slightest. I think the Patriots offense is going to kind of push this team over the edge and just let the defense do their work, but score enough to the point where the Browns can't do anything. And so the Patriots are going to win this one big. Up next, we have the Raiders taking on the Texans. Texans coming off a loss to the Colts, and the Raiders coming off a loss to the Packers, where they played very well offensively. Derek Carr looked great up until the end, where it was crunch time. He had to throw basically every play, and obviously when quarterbacks do that, they tend to throw interceptions. So he wasn't able to capitalize there. However, I do like the way the Raiders offense played. Houston is 6.5-point favorites in this one. I think that's a little high. I think the Raiders are coming into this game trying to get a playoff spot. They do still have a winning record, I believe. And Derek Carr, like I said, looks fantastic. So I do think the Raiders are actually going to upset the Texans here. Just the fact that the Texans defense is going to be able to compete with this Derek Carr offense that looks very good right now, and Josh Jacobs looks better than ever. So yeah, Raiders are going to get the upset here. Up next, we have the Green Bay Packers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Probably one of the most exciting matchups of the year, especially if Mahomes is here. Right now, I have my key point as the Chiefs D has to step up without Mahomes. News came in today that he did practice. It was limited practice, but they haven't ruled him out for Sunday just quite yet. So keep an eye on that. But regardless, I think this Packers defense is going to be the key factor here. Even if Mahomes does play, he's going to be a little off his game, not 100% if he does play. And I think this Packers defense is going to get in his head. Two really good pass rushers, Zadarius Smith and I think it's Preston Smith, who's playing very well for the Packers right now. So I like this team a lot, and I loved what I saw from Rodgers' offense. Finally started clicking. Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, everyone got involved, and this was without Devontae Adams. So if you get Devontae Adams back, this team's just going to excel even more. So I have the Cheeseheads taking this one. Finally, Monday Night Football, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Miami Dolphins, the 0-7 Miami Dolphins, that is. The Steelers don't look half bad right now. They beat the Chargers, then they had a bye, and now they have the Dolphins. So if they could get a win here, I wouldn't rule them out of the playoff race just quite yet. I think the key point here is can Fitzmagic play how he did up until the end of the fourth quarter versus the Bills? And if so, the Dolphins can make a game out of this. The Pittsburgh's 14.5 favorites. I think the Dolphins are going to cover, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to come out on top. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And if you liked it, please hit that like button. We'll see you guys next time.